that we are the survivors from this very block that tried to kill most of us. Alright? Alright, so let's get God in here. Let's give him this clap for God. Because I don't know about you, without him, I know.
This is the story of April CoField Essex, raised in the Terrace Avenue projects in Hempstead.
Wow, I remember this. This was part of my journey too. Wow, I remember.
April CoField Essex recalls the times in Denton Park and in Terrace Avenue in Hempstead where drug addiction fueled her life, dominated by prostitution and substance abuse.
It's not all negative. There are people who live around there that live a productive life, but in the days and times that I was there, I was addicted and I was a prostitute. Matter of fact, I worked right up on North Franklin. That was my job. And so I stayed on there. I moved over there with me and my son and my daughter, who both were taken from me from 103 Terrace Avenue. And so I discovered that crack was very popular. I was selling cocaine.
Zora Anderson, CoField Essex' longtime friend, remembers those tough times in their lives more than a decade ago.
We committed crimes, prostitution, stealing, going to jail, you know. Me and April did that over and over in our lives.
We were the lost, the least, and the last.
And the last.
Essex and Anderson had been friends for more than 40 years. More than half of that spent hanging out on Terrace Avenue in Hempstead, among other places, anywhere that they can get their hands on drugs. The only way that they knew how, that eventually led to addiction, crime, and incarceration.
Desperate people, they do desperate things. And unfortunately, at that time, Zora and I were desperate people, locked with no combination, stuck on a block that would have killed us had it not been for God.
When you're on drugs, you think you're doing something, but everybody else can see it and you cannot. That's where we gravitated to. You did what you had to do to survive the lifestyle. We were hungry, we looked out for one another. You know, I watched April, was always had a nurturing spirit. She was always kind and loving. She was definitely strong and intimidating, but she was true.
After a violent confrontation where she almost lost her life, and after rehabilitation, CoField turned her life around. She chronicles her story of addiction in a book titled From Crack to Christ, A Witness, a testimony that inspires a survivors' reunion in Hempstead, where town officials and ministers gather to pray for the lives that were lost due to substance abuse. She's also a minister and a public speaker, hoping to change as many lives as she can.
Look at this, the death of April CoField. I said to Robin, why would you chapter that? She said, because that's when you died and God came in. We gathered because the book started reaching so many people, and they started contacting me. The survivors of Terrace Avenue started contacting me saying, yo, hey, you told that story, hey, can we get together? And I was like, wow, I didn't know whether I should get together with them because some of them were murderers, some of them were drug dealers, you know, but they was my people, so I wasn't there to judge them. I said, yeah, let's gather in the middle section and let us pray. And that's what we've been doing for 8 years. But nevertheless, my responsibility is to stand in the gap for the lost, the least, and the last, and to pray. Because I'm a living, breathing witness that prayer changes things.
Essex can only hope that prayer reaches out to those affected by the astounding number of heroin abuse victims that happens today on Long Island.
Now it's affecting a different crop of individuals, deeply younger ones, and they don't know what to do, and so they are piling up in jail. There are many of us that used to be abusers, and now we are counselors, and so we have access to send individuals to where they can get help.
People need help. She lives by example. She's a great example. You know, she's a healer. Of course she is, because she's been healed.
Terrace Avenue survivors, Zora and I. A block that would have killed us had it not been for God.
For more on April CoField Essex and her story of survival, go to FromCrackToChristOnline.com. For Push Pause in Hempstead, this is Archie Snowden.
I'm grateful that I was not ashamed to tell that story and that I have survived to be a witness to this very block that almost destroyed most of us here. Most of it is boarded up right now, but yet we're here.